What's up, guys? NJ Slot Guy here, presenting SlotsFan.com, and I will be interviewing Casino Kelly today. And thank you, Kelly, for your time, for your patience with the StreamYard. This has been a fun, 31 minutes of us trying to set this up and get it right, and including my lighting, which you helped me with in background. So thank you, Kelly, and thank you for joining, of course. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
If you don't know who Casino Kelly is, you got to get your act together and head over to her channel. Kelly, you were Slot 500 Club. You are Slot 500 Club Beyond Blackjack and Casino Kelly, and you have to make sure that everybody knows that. Now, let's go all the way back because of those names. Let's start from the beginning. And obviously, you've told everybody how you got into making slots, but tell me when that happened and how it just officially all came together. The names, all that stuff. Give it to me.
So, it was my husband's idea, Jamie. You know who Jamie is, but maybe some people don't. So it was his idea. So he was watching this stuff on YouTube. I think he actually started with, oh gosh, what is his name now? Is it MJ21?
Oh, I know you're talking about. Yeah. MG.
Yeah.
He was
MG21. So he first started watching him, and then it kind of takes you down the rabbit hole of everyone. I thought it was quite silly that people would actually watch it. But then I started watching it and I got hooked, as we do, right? And so I really thought it was going to be something he did. It quickly turned into something I did. I've told that story a million times, so I won't go through that whole thing again. But when we decided for sure we were going to do this thing with the intentions of, well, we're doing it already, we're playing anyway, so why not? Which I think most of us do. We think, oh, it's just so easy, we're just going to put it up and then we'll make all this money and it'll pay for our gambling. That's not reality, but that's what we thought, right? And so Slot 500 was the name that we agreed upon, because at the time we would always start with $500.
Love it.
That was just kind of a thing that we did before we were ever filming. We would always start a machine with $500. I wanted to make sure I had the website because I wanted to control kind of everything around the name. That website was not available. That's where the club came in. We added the club. I don't even know why club, just thinking, oh, well, we'll make it this community. So anyway, it became Slot 500 Club. As time progressed, that didn't make sense anymore because I wasn't starting every machine with $500 anymore. Sometimes I would start with more, sometimes less, often less, just because it just felt more realistic to what other people were playing, not to mention if I put 500 in every machine, I'm going to burn that 500 to nothing probably by the time I'm done. And when I'm playing every single day, that gets very expensive. So there are times that I just put $100 into the machine. So it didn't make sense. So Jamie wanted me to rename it to Vegas Kelly back in 2021. And I was so scared to rename it. That's when I was living in Vegas. And then once I finally got the courage to change the name, Vegas Matt was on the scene. And I was like, well, I can't be Vegas Kelly now because it's going to look like I'm copying Vegas Matt. So thus Casino Kelly was born.
Kel, can I double up on that? I wanted to change my name to Mr. MaxBet. And this was even before the MaxBet stuff. Yeah. And Mr. Handpay came in. And I was like, damn him, I thought I came up with a good name. And I was like, why didn't you think of Mr. Handpay? Because I was just doing, Kel, I did the same thing. NJ Slot Guy was just like, I'm going to play slots. I'm a guy. I'm from New Jersey. Okay. And then it got so deep to a point where people knew me as this. And I remember asking, people who would stop me in the casino, hey, let me ask you something. If I change the name, no, please don't ever. No, that's you. You're NJ. You can never do that. And to see that passion come out of them. And I mean, now we're way too far in to even go back. And, you have Beyond Blackjack as well. So you may have two separate audiences that don't know the two, because you have the Blackjack tables audience and the slot audience. And you have a poker audience too, let's not forget. So, but you're doing it right, instead of just focusing on that slots. I came in high limit slot machines, and now I find myself retracting and going back, to save myself money from going broke $500, you're saying, I remember starting the machines 1,000, 1,500. It was like complete madness. So you really have to control yourself, and it's more relatable to your audience. Obviously, you look at any statistics, you're in the 90% range of dollar players or under. So it makes it more relatable. Of course, we like watching $200 spins, but I want to watch you because I like you, and it's easier to relate when you're playing my kind of spins. So is that what your audience, like, tell me about your audience from all different levels here.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's different audiences. So some watch because they like me, so they're going to watch whatever. At least that's what they tell me, because now I'm playing everything. So I started the slot channel November 2020. And then I just started playing blackjack on that channel. The audiences I noticed were very different. And then I decided I wanted to play other table games. Thus, Beyond Blackjack was born, because I was going to go beyond just blackjack.
I think it's a great name.
Yeah. And so, but now on that channel, I also put video poker because, I play it all. And I have several comments on every video poker video of, I don't understand video poker. I don't know what you're doing, but I watch it because I enjoy watching you. So there is that segment of audience that watches for us as creators because they enjoy who we are. But then I also have the comments of, I have to watch on mute because I can't stand listening to your voice.
Can you imagine?
Clearly, you're not watching for me. You're
right.
You just want to see the play. But whatever works for you, just keep watching.
Fun.
Be sure to leave a thumbs up.
I mean, and think about it, instead of, where that could be like constructive criticism, and you could easily take that in a negative light, take that and use it and say, hey, I must be doing a damn good job, for somebody to have to watch me on mute for 15 minutes. They'd rather watch me doing this at least than something else. And that's where a whole new dynamic audience comes in. I get the same thing. Yeah. I can't listen to this. And it's like, okay, so don't, you have mute buttons, volume buttons. I don't like your intro. The intro's 15 seconds. Are we here for, what are we doing? What are we doing? So I get it, Cal. I definitely get the frustration, which brings, it'll roll me right into, I was going to say, what are the pros and cons of doing this, and from every angle for you? And there's one of the cons is having to listen to everybody's opinion, because everybody's got one, of course, is one con. So hit me with it. Hit me with some cons and then go into pros. We'll leave it on positive.
So the biggest con that I'm going to say, and this is real talk honest, that maybe not all channels will admit to, but the biggest con is chasing content, because I think we all start with the idea that we're just going to film what we play and that's what's going to go on.
Right.
I will say there are some people who can do that, and so they'll just post periodically. Most of us don't. We're like trying to get regularly scheduled content out there. And so, for example, right now I'm in a huge video poker phase where I am loving video poker so much that I could probably sit in front of a video poker machine for 8 hours a day. But because I have a slot channel, I am like having to also kind of say, okay, now you have to dedicate this day to playing slots. Not that I don't enjoy it, but there are days like maybe you're not winning, but you're like, but I need the content. So I have to keep chasing the content.
Horrible.
And it's such it's this weird thing that you kind of feel like, I don't want to be forced to gamble, but you're also like, but it is a business at the same. And the weird thing too, is that you'll have people that are very against us making this a business. They're like, we're not going to watch this or click on this affiliate link because we don't want to support your gambling. And it's like, but you're watching it.
But you're watching it.
And it does cost us money to create this content. And aside from like just the gambling, there are other costs involved, such as the editing software and the music that we license and creating thumbnails and our time that we put into it, and then the taxes that we pay and the travel that we're paying to get the content. So you have to look at it as somewhat of a business. So that's the biggest con, is just kind of the money that's involved and the time in creating the content, and then that feeling sometimes of chasing it. I've gotten much better I don't chase the content as I did in the beginning, because I feel like that's a trap many channels fall into. You'll see a lot of channels where their bets start here, and then all of a sudden their bets get like uber high, because they're like, oh, well, the only channels doing really great are betting super high. So now I'm going to try that. It's not worth it. That content's not going to pay what it cost you to make it. And you get outside your comfort zone. And I was there, like, fully admit, I have been there, done that, and then realized real quick, bad idea. Not to mention, you box yourself into a category that's very hard to get out of.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, bad idea. But I've learned, I've been doing it long enough now that I'm out of that. So content, and then of course the negative comments, like we said, that one negative comment somehow will like worm its way into your brain.
That's human nature. Human nature.
Yeah, like that's what you think about. I don't so much anymore, but I definitely did at the beginning, because at the beginning, like, you're seeking this approval, because who's used to like having the world watch them?
Correct.
And then me, like, as an introvert and stuff, like, I was putting myself out there in a way that was not normal to me or comfortable. So those negative comments were like, but at the same time, like, on the flip side, the positive comments, and there are so many more positive comments. It's like 99% positive to 1% negative. The positive comments like really boost your self-esteem and like make it all worth it. So that brings the pro, which is the community. And by far, that's kind of the whole reason, right? Because unless you're one of these channels that are getting hundreds of thousands of views per video, you're not making money. Like, I talk about it all the time. If you're kind of on the lower end, you're not making a whole lot, you might be okay. And if you're making a whole lot of money, then you might be okay. But in the middle, it's pretty hard, because what I don't know if people realize is, so of course it takes money to make the content, right? So let's say a video cost $200 to make the content, right? I lost $200 on that video. Now that video may only make $50 on YouTube in ad revenue. So I'm already at a net loss there.
Correct.
But then I've got to pay taxes on that $50.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then take 40% off of that.
Goodbye.
Right. Like, they're
not as cut as
and then you have your expenses that you've paid. So it's almost always a net negative. And if we don't take the sponsorships or do the little like integrated ads, you can't support making content. You can't support gambling. It's two very different things that
absolutely, I know what you're saying,
get mixed up, because if you're just going to gamble, maybe you're not spending near as much money as you are making content. Very different.
Cal, now this makes it easier. I was going to touch on this later, but you're rolling me right into it. And it goes because I have been using this as an example after I ask people this question, because it's usually loaded coming from me. And it's, how do you feel about online slots? And how do you feel about those sweepstakes? You and I you are the one that talked me into, first of all, that was crazy. The whole event of the SBC Summit, you got me involved to speak in a seminar. And not only that, but you made me go with you. I want to say made me, because, you really do have a grasp on me, to get me to pay attention a little bit more to what's going on, because, I'm here, I'm 100 miles per hour, I'm Mr. Entertainer, I'm laughing, I'm giggling. You will be the one to, pull me aside and say, hey, we should go talk to this guy, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. And we sat in on that sweepstakes seminar, and I keep using it, and telling people, like, I know, the word scam gets thrown around a lot. However, I sat down and listened to this guy talk, in a rushed amount of time, and you were right there with me. And, what did you take out of that? How can you educate the world like I could on online slots and that sweepstakes stuff? Please do.
Yeah. So for the longest time, I didn't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole, because I didn't understand it either. But then I got a contract to to make content. And so I started playing it, and I really found that I enjoyed it. The reason I enjoy the online stuff is because, and this is an assumption that I'm making right now, maybe it costs them less to like create cool new concepts online versus putting them in a land-based casinos. I don't know, but either way, this is real talk right now, is that the games are just more clever. The mechanics are really cool and different. So you're getting to see things that aren't in land-based casinos and maybe are the future. So that's really cool. Also, knowing what I know about the industry, many of us who create content often go to manufacturers and do things. So we know like that's where they're putting their focus, is on a lot of online stuff. So we know that's kind of where the future is lying. Not to say that there's not going to be land-based. Of course there is, but they're putting a lot of focus onto online. So, I want to learn as much about it as I can. That being said, we went to the SBC summit and we got to listen to, I think, was he an attorney general, I believe? And he
was somebody very important.
He was like the legal guy.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but he did talk about sweepstakes and where they fit in legally and how it works. And it was super interesting because he related it to like the McDonald's monopoly. Remember?
That was yes. So that's
and when he did, I was like,
you said that.
Yes. Yeah. So I was like,
it's the same thing.
I get it.
It's the same thing. This is McDonald's. This is the monopoly stuff. I mean, granted, somebody was behind the whole monopoly thing and they got caught in a scam, but that's because of embezzlement, fraud, and stuff like that. The main focus here was how can that sweepstake game exist? And it was those little detailed things to get them past it. Like you have to make sure you have a method of entry, which was one thing. And it's like, now that we know this, like you and I know this, we sat in on that with, we can only say 40 other people that were there can be this educated on it unless they poke around. And it's, a lot of these websites are very legit because they followed everything that we saw, and in the comparison to the Monopoly game and the McDonald's stuff, and how many times that have Pepsi, Snapple, whoever it may be, you never question it because it's the big company doing it. This is new, so it's a scam, just like Bitcoin. I always use Bitcoin. Bitcoin was a scam when it came out. Well, now you have multi-millionaires that happened from Bitcoin, and that's a real life thing, so it's like, yes, there are scams out there. There's scams everywhere, but that doesn't necessarily mean that because you're doing it as a creator. Like, what wasn't that the point of this? I can easily flow into a next one of what is your goal here of your channel? Wouldn't this be one of the goals would be to sign a sponsorship with somebody, have some kind of brand deal and get paid to friggin' do it? Like, how could anybody, have a disrespect for that when we were just recording on a phone, like this at one time, shaky, not knowing what to do. And look what we have turned this into. How can you be upset about that? Like, it boggles my mind.
It's interesting because I think the majority of people do support us and they're like, good for you. You're getting something out of it. Maybe I'm not going to watch, because you'll have the people say, well, look, they don't get the views on that. Well, maybe it's just not their thing. That doesn't mean
it's not your thing.
That people hate on you for it. But there's going to be the people who have loud voices and they just don't want to see us do any success,
of course,
right? Because I can put a sponsored ad for hand soap and somebody is going to hate on it.
Absolutely.
Say, why are you putting this ad in here? You shouldn't be doing that, And the crazy thing is I listen to YouTube all day long. Like while I'm working, I listen to podcasts on YouTube. I can't think of a single one that I listen to that is not sponsored. Often by like 4 or 5 sponsors. Like it starts and it's their commercial breaks basically is them doing sponsored posts. I think nothing of it. I'm like, good for you.
Yes. Do you hate on that person now?
Yeah. Who cares? Because guess what? YouTube is going to put an ad in our stuff anyway, and YouTube's going to make the money. Why would I just not make the money? And the other thing is, like, people will say, these are just the naysayers, not everyone, right? But they'll say, I don't like they're trying to make money off of us by putting this promoting XYZ. And it's like, no, you don't get it. I'm not trying to make money off of my viewer. I'm trying to make money off of the person who offered me the sponsorship.
Yeah, I'm not trying to charge you anything to do this.
And look, if you don't want to watch it, just fast forward. Just fast forward through the sponsor. At least you can fast forward those. Just don't watch it.
Like it again, it has to be coming from a slim few, because it's like when you sign up for an online casino, you don't use their promo codes. To get yourself $25 and an extra 5 spins or whatever it is. It's the same thing. That's all I'm promoting to you. I'm actually trying to get you a better deal. If anything, like what are we missing here? There's just a lot of, it's not educated. That's why we were there, right? Was to bring education to the matter. And you can see, even in a summit filled with people who are in the industry who doesn't know, they don't know a lot. So it's like, we have to get it out there. It's up to us. And maybe the more of us, the more reality, audience is, you may have an audience that I don't, but they both like reality, right? The more and more of us, the more and more it'll come around. Like with anything, a crowd will always draw a crowd. So, it will eventually get there one day. As long as you're doing nothing wrong, Cal, as long as there's nothing scammy going on about it, you have nothing to worry about, right? Yeah. So I know I'm very, I was just like you. I remember talking to Tim constantly, and you're talking 3 years ago, and both of us, I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole. I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. Who knows the deals we missed out on? We could have been the first ambassador for whoever it may be, and it goes without saying. It just needs to be a lot more educated, and I'm sure we will get there one day. But you are one of the reasons why I started to take this serious. Like I said, it goes back to you pulling my arm thing. And I said, if Kelly's doing it, I'm going to look into this as well. You introduced me to the right people who are educated in their own way when I don't know what I'm doing. And it has now ballooned into, now I'm educating people. You see, that starts with you, Cal. It starts with Tim and stuff like that. So
also, for people watching, just so you know, we don't all make money off of you. Like I, for one, make zero money if you sign up. I don't make money if you play. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm playing because I enjoy playing, and I hope that you like to watch it. But even if someone does make money because you click their link, so what? No one's forcing you to click the link. Like when I buy,
it's as simple as that.
Almost anything, I search for a coupon code, right? You got the Honey, the Capital One thing that pops down. All of those are some sort of affiliate.
Right.
I don't care if they're making money. I'm going to buy it anyway. It's not coming out of my pocket. So
me neither.
I care. So I don't understand where all this hate comes from of people saying, well, they're making money on me. Because I know that's come up with other creators in the past where they're like holding an event and they're like, well, I don't like it because, they're getting credit for my player's card.
Right.
I don't know what the deal is. I just know I've heard stuff like that in the past. And it's like, but who cares? It's not costing you anything. If there's a reason that you walked in the door. So if there's a bring a friend promo, right? And I bring my best friend and they get $50 of free play and I get $10, I'm going to do that. It's not costing them anything. And I think anyone watching would. And it's exactly the same thing. So I don't know why people get so offended by that.
Me neither, Cal. And I can't wait to jump into the space because I'm going to do real money gambling, because I live in a state that provides it. We were there. There's 40 something states that don't. So what do these people do when they're at home? They don't have the option to online gamble. They can play these sweepstake games for fun just to keep them going or whatever it may be. So it's also giving them that opportunity too. I have a whole audience in Oklahoma. It's one of my top demographics, and it's like they can't gamble legally on their phone, but I can. So if I'm going to play real money gambling, that audience can't relate. So I'll switch over and I'll do sweepstakes, so that audience can feel it. Nobody's getting scammed. You're just watching me play a different game with different coins or different whatever, and I can easily switch back. Now, again, we can only talk about so much because you sign certain papers, which, brings me to another thing too, is it's going to be hard for us to get out information without talking about our current or previous deals because you have to watch what you say and watch what you don't say due to, the forms that you sign. So in respects to that, though, everybody knows that. That's how the world works. That doesn't make this a scam, Gets me upset, Cal, as you can see. I get fired up easily too, that. So
yeah. But the other thing with that too, because people will say, well, but if it's not in a real casino, like I can't relate to it, but that's great. But then there are some people who are bedridden, who don't live in a casino. Like they have different situations, and maybe they can't relate to the real casino, but they do play sweeps and they can relate to that. So the only thing that we can do as creators is just do it responsibly, and I do try to show that. So when I'm playing, I try to show the safeguards. And by the way, there are way more safeguards on online things than there are in a casino. So for example, I have a daily limit set for $500. It's the max that I can cash in and buy coins with. No casino in this country is going to let me set a $500 limit. They're like, no, how can I help you get more money? You got any more credit cards? Let's have them, right?
Yeah.
So those safeguards don't exist in a real life casino, but they do exist online. So while we can go into the responsible gaming argument of, well, being able to play from home is dangerous. And yes, I agree. But there are also lots more safeguards to make it not dangerous and less dangerous at home than a land-based casino. So there's an argument to be made on both sides of that.
Yeah, of course, as with anything, right? And this is why, we're always at war and nobody can get along, is if everybody just stopped and just instead of their argument, they just kind of went like this and let their mind explore a little bit, there would be a lot more understanding and it wouldn't take so long to educate. But we live in a world where nobody wants to hear anything. You don't appease to me. I'm part of your audience. Oh, I can't relate to this. Well, I have other people that I need to relate to, not just you. You know what I mean? So it's we have to deal with that as creators, and we're going to have to, as with anything. Speaking of the online slots, because obviously you do both online and land-based, do you have a favorite like online slot like you do in like the land-based that you always go to, and that do you like it more than your favorite game in the land-based casino? Go ahead, let's hear it.
So Fire Stampede is one that I play, and it's so if you don't know sweeps casinos or any online casino for that matter, it's basically just like a land-based casino, right? You're just walking into a different door, right? But the same slots are in all of them. So with maybe a few that are exclusive to different companies, but Fire Stampede is one that you will find in most online sweeps casinos. I don't know about regular online because it's not legal for me here in Louisiana, but it is so fun and so different than anything out there. There's literally nothing like it, and it is absolutely my favorite. And I play it every single time I get online. And everyone that's watching always says, make sure you play that. So I usually end with that game. It's so much fun. I love it.
And that game does not exist in any land-based casino. It's only online. See? So and you're even putting that above your favorite land-based, which is, well, speaking of then, what is your favorite land-based slot machine, even if it doesn't exist anymore? And then we could go into which one does exist. We'll have some fun with it.
Okay. So it's hard because my favorite's whatever I'm winning on at the moment. So I'm very
right. I know it's come to that point with me too. Right. Like machines I used to love, I played them so much that I've lost on them so much that I hate them now. Yeah.
It changes, right? Because I was like, for a minute it was Mystery of the Lamp. I was like, this is my favorite game. It's like so exciting. And then I couldn't get on anymore. And I was like, I hate this game. Yep. And then it was Midnight Express, because I love how you can get the multipliers. He's got that little flashlight. I love that game. And then I haven't been doing great on that. And now I found that new train. Oh, shoot. What's the name of the new one?
What you're talking about, too. Somebody was just talking about that.
Here we go, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm loving that one right now, but it's so hard to bonus on. But when you do get the bonus, it's super exciting.
Yeah. Remarkable.
But the good old faithful that you always go back to.
Yes.
Dragon Link, right?
Yeah.
Everyone goes back to Dragon Link. And it seems like Dragon Link just did really good at getting the math right. At least the older Dragon Links, that every new variation is a little more volatile. So like the newer Dragon Link, I don't find myself playing. I go back to the, Panda Magic, Autumn Moon, Golden Century.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Yeah.
Because it just feels like, you can stay on this nice little, and you can hit really big, but you don't typically just crash and burn. It can happen, but it's rare to crash and burn. So yeah, I guess we'd have to go with Dragon Link then.
Yeah, Dragon Link's hard to not appreciate and love because it also changed the game. The whole Lightning Link fashion of everything changed the game, and it made jackpots better. It made bonuses better. Again, I was used to playing these fixed old school machines that didn't have much to offer as far as you just had these fixed jackpots or whatever. Well, now I'm taking $5 and $10 spins and I'm getting a shot at a random major jackpot dropping for $5-6 grand. Like, what are you kidding me? And the top jackpot is 25,000 more than the one I was just playing for half the price. What the hell am I doing here? Like you said, they got it figured out when they came up with that. A+ to the developers of that game, because it's hard to not love those Link games in general. I mean, I have my biggest jackpots on a Link game now officially. It was on an old school game. That's how it stood for years. But then I had to go outside of that because how could I not like friggin' Dragon Link, Lightning Link, whatever it may be, and just to I thought it would make my audience happier. My audience hates me for it, so I'm still fighting that fight today because I came in old school machines. After 3 or 4 years, I'm forcing, new machines down their throat. But how could I not play pigs? How can I not play, dancing this and this and that? I want to have fun, So, you know what, Kel? And with that being said, as far as fun and like the slot machines go, you've traveled so much, you've been to hundreds of casinos. What are your top 3 land-based casinos?
All right. Top 3. So I would say Yamava. I really love Yamava because they're almost always getting the world premiere of games. They have really good food there. But mostly the people there are so lovely. I have yet to go to a casino where everyone seems like they love their job. So I've only been there, I think 4 times now. And every time I went, the people were just so nice. Like you walk into someone and can you tell me where the bathroom is? They're not just going to point. They're going to walk you there with a smile on their face the whole time. That to me makes that place just fantastic. So the second one would probably be Coshada Casino here in Louisiana. It's in the middle of nowhere, but they always get new machines. They're just, they're very good to us as creators. They embrace creators, and I love that. And they embrace all creators, not only like the Brian Christopher size creators. They embrace everyone, and they have such a respect for what we do. And then number 3, gosh, I don't know, because I think everyone else just kind of comes in equal. I think they're all just equal.
It's hard. It's on. The more you travel, it's hard to put 3. I've been to beautiful properties. It's really hard to break it down. Like even the Hollywood, Hard Rock down there in Florida. Like, it's a beautiful property. It's all newer machines. It doesn't have much for me to play as far as my old school audience goes. This place is gorgeous. It's like a resort. And they take care of me there, and it's easy to get filming. I could ask them to turn down the music they do. It's very hard to not name that, being a favorite of a casino when it's that easy, You're
right. So they're one. 7 Feathers property that I go to.
Yeah, you see?
There's so many, and that's why I said the rest I would kind of have to say are more equal because I equally enjoy them. There's not a whole lot of properties that I don't.
Or that you won't go back to. You ever say that? Like, I'm never going back there again, no. It doesn't exist. Like maybe 1 or 2 that I'm not thinking of right now. But besides that, I mean, how do you not? They're casinos. This is our love. Now it's gotten this big, and you've gotten that much more important. So you appreciate everything that much more too. The amenities, the food, especially. Food was a big problem when I first started going around because I'm so used to whatever's here in Atlantic City, and to go out of that realm and then go down to like Tampa where I've never been before, I'm getting slices of pizza and I'm like, what the hell is this? I'm used to You know what I mean? Up there. And you had to go out of your, your comfort zones. If I'm down in the South, I'm going to eat Southern food. You know what I mean? I'm not going to try to get macaroni while I'm down there.
Too, because they have their different things that they offer. So it's like, what are you looking for? Like, I have places that I prefer to play table games at, but then I have other casinos. Like if I'm going for video poker, that's what I'm going for. I have my favorites for filming because maybe the music's not so loud,
right?
You know. But then this one's got this
break down
fun vibe. If I'm just going to hang out with friends and we're going to have some drinks, like so they're all just very different, and so it's hard to have a favorite. It depends on what you're going for.
How about just in Vegas? Can we localize it and say, how about your top 3 in Vegas?
So
or in Vegas on the Strip, because guess what? Whenever I ask this question, 2 out of 3 of those properties are always off the Strip. You know, there's the Rangos of the world, the Red Rocks up in Green Valley always gets mentioned. And I always think of you for some reason whenever Green Valley comes up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What about that the other day?
So, because I film a lot of tables there.
That's why. Okay.
And I think Stations properties are probably one of my favorite for video poker. So, but they're off the Strip, so I won't count that. So on the Strip, we're very loyal to whatever property we're at. Wherever has given us the most free play and like the best offers, that's where we're going to go. And then we kind of concentrate our play there. So that's been Resorts World for us. It's not the biggest property in Vegas, but because
I think it's a beautiful place.
Yeah, but because we've been going there now for, gosh, I want to say 3 years now. I mean, it was not long after they opened. We know all the bartenders. The second we sit down, they're like, "Hey, you want your mojito, Jamie? You want your, what?" Like they know us, they get us, and I think just as humans, wherever we feel like family at, that's what feels comfortable to us.
Cheers.
And,
sometimes you want to go, everybody knows your name, right?
And so I will say, like, of all the places in Vegas, Resorts World like has my least favorite food options. I don't love the food options there.
Right.
But I still go because I feel at home there and it feels comfortable. And every time I go stay at a new property, I'm like, but this doesn't feel comfortable.
Right. No, I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. I should have said this one before the favorite casinos, because this is the best question that I can ask, because it always comes with an experience. Where and what has been your biggest win as a creator?
That is Resorts World. So, and that would be my $20,000 jackpot on video poker. So I've hit that multiple times there. And it's always at that bar, the center bar on video poker. And I don't play there like tons. So I couldn't even say, well, you play there the most, so that's why you win at that spot the most. Like Jamie will sit there for hours playing at that bar. But I don't play at that bar often. But when I do, I just do so well there. And I always say it's my lucky mojito, because it's almost always after the bartender brings me my drink, I'll hit some massive hands. But I've had multiple $20,000 jackpots at that bar, $10,000, $8,000, like crazy big hits at Resorts World at the bar. Even I hit more there than I do my local home casinos.
And that resonates to, when I asked you to name the top casinos. How can that not jump into a favorite spot when it's giving you your biggest jackpot multiple times? I could go there too. Who wouldn't? Yeah, sure. Who wouldn't, Kel? So, okay. So if you're going to share any tips or tricks with us, it's go to the center bar mojito and video poker. Because I always ask everybody, give me some secrets, give me some tips and tricks. And obviously we know when it comes to slot machine, anything, there's no tips or tricks. Like we're going to say gamble responsibly. That's not what I mean. What I mean is like give me that little extra, what do you do? Before I do a live stream, which I don't do much, I go up into my room, I put on AirPods, Beats, whatever it may be, and I sing. Like I sing like I'm performing a concert. I feel bad for who's next to me. Randy, I said, walked in on me one time. It was at Foxwoods, because I forgot he was coming up, and I had latched the door. I think it was Foxwoods. This might have been Vegas too. And I'm just, you get great acoustics in the bathroom. Everybody sounds great in the bathroom. That's why everybody sings in the shower. Kelly, I'm not kidding you.
Can you record it one time? Just record it one time.
Do you know how hard that is to do? If anybody came in pointing a video camera on me, I wouldn't know what to do. However, to go off that, I was in West Virginia with Mr. Hampay, and I was sitting outside one night with one of his crew, because also a smoker, so we're outside. Now, nothing good ever happens usually when you extend a night, which is what I'm known for. Let's grab another drink. Never goes well. Well, not only did we grab another drink, but we were grabbing bottles of wine from the convenience store that was connected to the hotel. You can sell alcohol. I'm not used to that. I'm used to being in hotels here. You can't get alcohol at convenience stores and stuff around here. You have to go to a liquor store. Different laws and all that stuff. So we were just grabbing bottles of wine. And we start drinking. We start playing music. So I started mumbling something, whatever it was. I think it was 90s alternative. And Georgie's like, dude, you got a good voice, man. Stop holding yourself back. And I'm like, shut up. Don't do this stuff, because then you're going to start to get me to, start doing crazy stuff and singing in the middle of West Virginia. I don't belong out here as it is, right? Another bottle of wine goes. However, John starts getting comfortable. When I tell you, it had to be, I forgot if it was midnight or maybe a little after. I'm standing outside of this hotel and I'm friggin' rocking out Queen. I'm talking about Freddie Mercury putting on the Live Aid 1985, where I was dancing around like a freak.
And nobody filmed
singing. Thank God.
This is internet gold.
Thankfully, nobody filmed this, because that's not easy to do. I'm not some kind of singer. I don't do well in front of a camera, even though it may seem like I do. The anxiety is there. And that's why I go and do that, because I'm so built up with, whatever it may be, the adrenaline from the casino, meeting up with my friends, who knows what the hell we're on. And it's like, I have to go and calm the hell down. So before a live stream, I'm like, get it out of your system, get it out. And I'll just belt out 2 or 3 songs and I'll go, now I feel better, and I can bring it down a notch instead of being 100 miles per hour like I always am. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that story, Kel.
I actually love to hear that you get anxious before a live stream, because
Badly.
I get hella anxious, like to the point that sometimes I'm like shaking and want to cry. But
yeah,
you know
absolutely.
what it is for me? It's the technology part, because if something does not work, like I am such a control freak with my surroundings and what's happening in my life, but you don't have control when you're live.
Yeah.
So if it's fuzzy or if it's this, I'm just like, I don't know what to do, because now I can't control this situation. And it just freaks me out.
I've had more technical issues than not when it comes to live streaming, which is why I don't do it a lot, and all the variables, Cal. I have a bad mouth. The people I hang around with are nuts. So all of those things too. But, it's the anxiety of still, being on camera and having to perform for my audience. F the slot machines, those suck as it is. So I go into it, I'm going to lose. I have to make this entertaining, which is fine. But because I'm so crazy about this has to go right. Am I holding it the right way? Is it, did somebody call me and it screwed something up? I remember the Wi-Fi disconnected in the middle of one at Foxwoods. I had to start a whole nother live stream. Yeah. All of that anxiety definitely does not help it either. And that's why I do it so, so rarely. And, just to keep myself sane, like you said, even right now, doing an interview with you, you make me more comfortable than anybody. But I know that this is going to be for the people. I'm trying to perform for you. I'm shaky, like my legs moving and tapping while I'm, sitting here listening to you. Or I'm like, you see me constantly going like this because I just can't stay still. I'm an absolute disaster.
I am struggling really hard to sit still because I'm a rocker. People will sometimes come up to me in the casino and they'll say, are you okay? Because I will rock in my chair. And it's funny because my son does the same thing. So we're either rocking like this, or my leg is moving a mile a minute.
Yeah, the bounce.
Even when I was young, doctors would say, are you nervous? And I'm like, no, my body just doesn't stop. So my son and I, if we're standing next to each other, we'll both be swaying at the same time, and people are like, can you please stop? You're making me dizzy.
It's hard for me to stay still. I can't do it either. People who sit there on the phone, are you nuts? I pace around my yard. I put more steps in on a phone call than you would imagine. I roam the whole property. I walk around, the phone disconnects sometimes. I'm just a disaster. So let's just run with that. Nobody changed the world being normal. So let's run with that, Cal. I don't think there's anything wrong with us. The whole nervous thing, being a creator, that's completely that makes a lot of sense.
We're just a bunch of misfits, and I should have named my channel Misfit Slots. That probably would have been a cool name, because that's what we are. We're just a couple of misfits that, found each other.
So speaking of that, because it always is fun, and like you said, that literally is what gets me going now. The slot machines really stink to me. I do like seeing new machines and playing new games, or maybe playing a game I only played once, but that's like on the side, back burner stuff. It's everything else that goes with it. And one of the best things is flying across the country or middle of the country, wherever it may be, to meet up with another creator or creators. So with that being said, what has been one of your best experiences as a creator, doing this? What has been that single time or two? Because one story sometimes isn't enough. Give me another one. What has been your best experience, craziest, best, funniest experience?
Every time we go on a trip, we meet people, and usually it's Jeremy. Jeremy from Big Cats Poker. We became best friends with him almost immediately. Same with like me and Josh and Joseph from Slotaholic. So rarely do we travel with just us. It's usually like a group that meets up. But I will say the most emotional I've ever been during a meetup was Sloticon. That got me. I did a video when I went to the room and I started crying in the middle of the video.
Tell me about it.
I almost didn't put it on because I was like, oh gosh, you were like a hot mess. But then I was like, you know what? But it's real, and it's how I was feeling, because I was like, nobody's showing up to this thing. This is going to be a disaster. I went in there with like the shittiest attitude.
I did too.
No one's coming. Like, I was so unprepared. And then to see the sheer number of people who came, and to meet people who legitimately like started crying when they met some of us and were like, you've changed the way I gamble, or you said this and I relate to it so much. And it's like, oh my God, all we do is like push a button on a slot machine, and we're like, right. These people like connect to us, which I get, because there are people that I watch every day and I'm like, we should be best friends. I like you. And of course they have no idea who I am, right?
Of course.
But that was just so emotional for me to see so many people come together, not only like the fans, which is such a weird thing to say. I hate saying that word. Not only them, but just all of us, like different people, different creators who are all from completely different places, completely different walks of life, different religious backgrounds, economic backgrounds, like whatever, but who cares? It's almost like when you're in Disney World and everybody just gets along, because you're like, you forget
you're in Disney World.
Like that.
Right.
We were like all in this bubble together of we just are here because we love doing what we're doing. And it was so emotional for me. And I don't think that I'll ever experience anything like that again, because it was so unexpected.
Yeah, you guys got me right in the feels. You did. You officially started that where I was like, why are you crying? Who said something to you? That was like my first instinct was to injure for you, and go to war.
Yeah.
And then when you started to explain it, and then you got me emotional in a sense where I was like, I couldn't be happier, that I was part of putting this together, for you, so you could experience it. I wasn't even thinking that when this all came together, and then that unraveled after this crazy, you want to talk about anxiety, right, Cal?
Yeah.
After that crazy anxiety written day and how it played out, and then you're emotional. And then as we're standing there, like 5 or 6 of the creators come over, they're taking pictures with their audience, whatever it may be. And they go, what about you? You're the reason that this all happened. Like, without you, like, we need a picture with you. And then I'm not realizing, the people were fans of mine before they were even channels. And now it just, and then a whole load of emotions just absolutely unravels and hits you. Luckily, we had such an itinerary that there was every which way going. We had this event and then this, that I couldn't focus on that, enough, because I would have broke down too. It's hard not to, because, you get it. A lot of those channels were just starting. And I love the fact of factual numbers of taking a channel that was just there from taking pictures and going live, and they jumped up their channel by like 500, 600, 700%, and I don't care if that's, if that means 200 subscribers to 1,000, that's a serious thing for a creator like that in this space. Now you're not gaining like I did 6 years ago, because it is overly saturated. So it's a lot harder for these creators to come up and get those numbers. So for them to do that, that made them emotional as well. Like, oh my God, this would have never happened if I wasn't a part of this. Thank you so much. Like you've changed this. You did this for me. And it's like, oh my God, and the emotions and all that stuff, which makes me look forward to a next one. Yeah. What about?
Do you want me to go back and answer your question about tips for the casino? Because we went off on a tangent on that. I never gave an answer.
We did because like I said, there really isn't any tips and tricks. Like I
have one.
With a different word, So give it to me. Yes.
So I have a strategy, right, and a tip, and it is just to diversify your play. Most people don't want to learn anything else, so they go in and they're only a slot player or only a table player. And I will say that once I really started like diversifying my play, I'm doing so much better and losing less because, if the slots aren't hitting, then I'm like, you know what, let's go play some video poker. If that's not working, let's go slow it down at a table game where it's full of people. So I'm still getting the energy and the fun of being in the casino, because sometimes that's all we want is that energy. But now I'm slowing down because I'm not like hitting a button on a slot machine, 100 times in a few minutes. Now I'm like only putting up $10 a hand, and it's every few minutes, and I'm talking to people. So that's my biggest thing. And then number 2 is to take breaks and just go for a walk sometimes.
Yeah.
If it's not working, which is why I always say it's kind of dangerous to gamble alone in a casino, or it's dangerous to gamble like if you're going through something emotional. If you're angry, if you're sad, don't do it, right? Because those endorphins start coming and make you feel a little better, and then it's hard to pull yourself away. But if you have someone there with you, and I've had to do that before, where Jamie's like, come on, let's go take a walk. Like, because he'll see me like chasing, and I'm like, thank you. And he's done that with me. He's texted me before, literally on a machine, and he said, please come and get me, because I cannot get myself off of this machine. So sometimes just going for a walk outside makes all the difference. And we always rent a car when we're in Vegas. We just rent it straight from the casino. Almost all of them rent cars. So even if you just decide to do it the day of, you're like, I'm not having a good day, I need to get out of here. We rent a car from Resorts World all the time. And sometimes just taking a drive or just changing environments, like going from one casino to another, it totally changes your perspective, because something happens to us psychologically when we are in that space, that we go in with the best of intentions, and then we just get lost in there, and we're like, oh, just one more 100.
Yeah, it's hard not to. It's hard not to chase.
And you'll be having this argument in your own head where you're like, you need to just go for a walk. And then this one's like, yeah, but just do it after this. So having that other person there watching your back is helpful. So those are my strategies and tips.
And that's literally, gambling safe and responsibly as well, Kelly. Take a delay. And guess what? What you're not thinking is that delay, because everybody has all these theories, that may, if you sit down now and you hit a jackpot or whatever it may be, you start to come back slot machine wise, it's because you took that break. Otherwise that wouldn't have happened in your, because it needs to be at that exact moment. We all know that when it comes to slot machines at the very least.
So on that note, one of the things that many people don't know, some places it depends on your tier level, but you can, at most properties, lock down a machine. So I find that one of the biggest reasons that people keep going in deeper and deeper is they're like, well, I've got all this time invested, I don't want someone to take my win, right? Like, we just have these weird ways of thinking, and you're like, I've been playing this, I don't want to give up this machine because, I've already invested all my money and it owes me a win. We all know that's not true, but it doesn't matter. Psychologically, that's where we're at in that moment. So the suggestion is then lock the machine down. If that's what's causing you to feel like you have to sit on a machine, call the slot attendants over. I do it all the time, and they will lock a machine down for me, and then I'll go take a break. I'll go get a coffee. I'll go get something to eat, whatever, go for a walk, and then come back like in a new headspace, because I am a firm believer that the machines can feel our energy, which is why I think my biggest wins always happen at the bar, because I'm
Mojito.
Never filming there. I'm always just there kind of relaxed and playing. I got my cocktail. It's unexpected. They always happen unexpectedly. But if I'm going in and I'm like, all right, I'm going to win all this money, It never happens. I'm telling you, it's almost like the machine can feel your tense energy, and it's like, yeah, this girl's just going to give us her money. Let her do it.
Yeah, it's they're camera shy now too, apparently.
Yeah.
So you know what they're doing.
Relax, take a break, go back to your machine later.
That's it. And granted, it's not a good thing, but my big breaks are like, being in the non-smoking casinos. I have to go somewhere to go smoke.
Yeah, there you go.
Not obviously promoting smoking. You should never smoke. I'm trying to stop myself. However, because I do, again, not justifying it at all, it gives me that break, Kelly, no matter what, and sometimes that'll turn into something else. You end up upstairs in the room, you end up laying down, getting a nap, grabbing something to eat or whatever it may be. And you take a lot more time off and you feel even better. You're refreshed, whatever it may be. You come back and hopefully make a nice comeback or turn it into a better trip at the very least. So that break is necessary, I think. With the whole smoking, how do you feel about, smoking in a casino? Does it bother you? Should there be an actual ban on it? What do you think?
So that is such a triggering question for so many people. So
I don't know.
So I'll give you my feelings. You are welcome to your feelings, people.
Yeah, of course.
So my feeling is I prefer not to have it because I'm not a smoker. So I can't tell you how many machines I've left that I was like playing on because a smoker comes right next to me with their smoke in my face because I have really bad allergies. I have asthma. I don't want to be around the smoke. So for me, like if I have a choice of being somewhere that's non-smoking, I usually will go there. Resorts World, because they're never really that busy and I travel during the week. I don't find it happens. The smoke doesn't bother me there very often, but I feel for dealers, especially at minimum, I think they should take it away from tables. I feel like it's not fair to dealers. If people want to smoke, like we're in a free country, it's your prerogative, but it is proven that it secondhand can cause problems to other people. So I don't feel like we should force employees to deal with that. And for those who say, well, they should just get another job, it's kind of a shitty thing to say,
It is. It definitely is.
And it's a pretty selfish thing to say. Like you should, bow to my whim. Like they could throw it back at you and just say, well, then you shouldn't smoke. Like you have a right to smoke. Other people have a right to breathe clean air. Like it's just what it is. Like I think we can do away with it at the tables. And it kind of goes back to what you just said about you get a break because you go outside. Let's be all truthful. First off, nobody's like, if every casino bans smoking, I don't think smokers are all of a sudden not going to go to the casino because they can't smoke. Of course, they're still going to go and they're just going to go outside and smoke as you do, right? People did it during COVID. COVID proved it. The casinos don't want you to take a break. Let's just call it what it is. They don't want you to take a break. They don't want any of us to take a break. They want us to have time on machine. That's what they look for. That's why they're all doing these little like perceived persistence games now. It's it's all about time on the machine because the longer you sit there, the more money you're going to lose. So
of course, they don't want you to get up and leave.
So I do think the whole idea of the casinos not wanting to get rid of smoking, it's a completely selfish reason for them. It isn't to help you smokers have a place to smoke. It's all about how much more money they can get out of you. But look, like I said, I don't care if you want to smoke away. I prefer not to breathe next to it because I'm not a smoker. So
right, of course, and a whole generation is going to die off, and that will be the last generation of the smokers because society is getting more intelligent in that sense, where the smoking numbers have dropped drastically as they should have.
I told someone this one time because one time I was in a mood and someone came. It was literally an empty casino. I swear, because I gamble early in the morning, and the person sat right next to me with holding blown right in my
see. I have never and would never ever do that to anybody.
And I was just being so and then I started like obnoxiously like doing this, because I'm just like thinking it's so rude. So I finally said, would you like it if I belched right now and blew it in your face? Because it's kind of the same thing. You don't want the toxic air coming out of my innards going into your face. I don't want you blowing your smoke at me. Same thing. Like, let's just have mutual respect for people. And then I think we could all just get along. Let's just respect each other.
I completely agree with you. I don't need to play this machine right this second, or I don't need to have this cigarette right this second till now. Like I've said before, this is where I start to turn to things. Because I try to find space. I don't want to bother anybody. I'm loud as it is. If I'm sitting down in a row by myself, I see it, all is clear. That's when I will. Now, if you now come into my space and start complaining, lady, I was here. You can see what's going on. Why didn't you just wait for me to leave or wait till I was done, or something like that? However, even when somebody does do that, I try to finish even quicker and put it out and get it out of the way. And I will not, just for respect of the people around me, because of that secondhand smoking. I don't ever want to harm anybody, because of my vice. And there's been statistics. Yes, the casino was way more of an open space. But if I'm hovering over you, you can say whatever you want about ventilation. You're right here. You're getting some of that. If you smell it, it's going, it went in, so there's no way around that. I agree with you. I'm like this when it comes to all that stuff. I, however, think, if we're talking 20 or 30 years from now, there's not going to be a bunch of smokers to appease to anymore. And the casinos are probably just gonna be like, well, I don't want to chase away these new generation of people. So let's put the smokers over here now. And now it'll switch, and the smokers will now have their small little places to go. And it's not going to be fun, because I've been to those like smoking rooms. Not enjoyable, even as a smoker. It's disgusting.
It's a missed opportunity that casino. So I say this about Fontainebleau. Fontainebleau just opened. Have you been there yet?
No, I've never been there. Okay, I would like to go.
So Fontainebleau is pretty large, and it's kind of separated. There's all different sections, right? And I thought it was such a missed opportunity there that they didn't do like one side smoking and one side non-smoking, because there's only one non-smoking casino in Vegas, which is Park MGM, which is always busy, by the way, always busy. But there's no place for both people to go. So, maybe a spouse smokes and the other one doesn't. I thought it was just such a missed opportunity. They could have done half and half. I say that about Beau Rivage here in Biloxi. I don't know if you've ever been there. Nope. But people who've been to Beau Rivage, when you walk in the casino, it's literally cut in half. So you have this huge walkway straight down the middle, and then the high limit room is at the end of it. But then there's one whole side and then another whole side, and they're both huge. And they have like the same games. They almost mirror each other. I don't know why they didn't do one side smoking and one side non-smoking. It's such a missed opportunity again by these casinos. I don't know why they just appease everyone. And
good luck. Imagine if I told you that as a channel. Go appease everyone. Imagine how much fun that would be.
Right.
Trying to make all those people, you drive yourself nuts. There's stories and metaphors and similes or whatever those things are called to touch on. Trying to please everybody, and how in the end you just end up dead in the end. Like you die off, obviously, from old age or whatever it may be, and the world still turns and nothing happened. You have to look at it as an individualistic thing, like I changed this person's life in whatever sense it may be because I told a joke, like they just took it, and ran with it like that. Fine. I'm fine with that. I'm happy with that. Yes, I didn't please everybody. 10 other people told me how much I suck because I played Lightning Link instead of friggin' old school Double Diamond. Like, what are we doing, Kel? What are we doing?
Oh gosh, you guys please let John play what he wants to play. He's very triggered by this.
I mean, what are we going to do? I go to a casino. I want to go meet up with my friends and these creators and whatever it may be. Like, I'm not going to say, I'm going here because they have the most old school slots that you could find and all this stuff. Because there's not much going on, right? Those slot features, there's really not a lot. It's just, like, that's it. There's no, hey, here we go. At least nudge me. Give me some nudgers. Give me some Haywire. That's why Haywire was awesome. I'm going to go off on another tangent. Cal, of course, like I knew this was going to happen, an hour has flown by, I probably had 10 things in my mind that I wanted to bring up that I didn't. However, of course, thank you for your time. The number one thing I want to do, especially at the end of these, is this. I want you, to tell these people out there, this audience out there, people who haven't seen you yet, what they can expect out of you as a channel, as a creator moving forward, let's say for the next year.
So you can expect realistic betting of all types, right? So I'm kind of all over with my betting. I'm trying to get more purposeful in my gambling and have a point to what I'm doing. It won't always be that way. So sometimes I'm just going to play. I'm going to put a few $100 in and play and see what happens. But as machines get more volatile, I'm trying to like have some sort of purpose to my gambling because it makes my money last longer. So maybe it's I've been doing bonus and bounce, and I actually like that a lot. It's once I get a bonus on a machine, then I do some backup spins and move to another machine, and it's forcing me to try different slot machines and to move around. I'm really liking that. So things like that. You will continue to see video poker and table games on Beyond Blackjack. And then my husband just started a channel, video poker channel, Action Video Poker. You can check that out. But yeah, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing, which is just trying to have a good time. I do laugh a lot and I talk nonstop. So if you don't like that, then I'm probably not the channel for you. But when I turn the camera on, I'm usually filming early in the morning, and I've had 1 or 2 cups of coffee, and I turn into a chatterbox.
You're the number one whenever there's a group of creators, whatever it is we're doing. I'm either running into you first thing in the morning or I'm running into Jamie first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the truth, right? We all remember Fox was you yep. were floating on down. I go, Kel, what are you doing now? 7:15 or whatever stupid time it was. Like everybody else is sleeping, right? And enjoying and sleeping the night off from the night before. Now, here I am, 6. But I also get there early because it's also one of those things playing in your mind, like, ooh, I can get down and I can record. There's nobody around me. I can do my own thing, right? So that's why. So if you are in the casino and you are there early in the morning, go float around and see if Kelly's out there getting her mojito on at a resort.
Not that early.
You never know. You never know, Kel. Maybe the night didn't end yet and we're still going.
No.
It's been very close. It's been very close, especially on Great trips, which now that brings a whole nother thing to this, Kel. We got to do a part 2 when we're together.
We can really talk forever. There's so much.
We should do a part 2 together, and I'm going to do a part 2 with everybody. However, I really want to do these interviews in person. In person's so much better when it comes to anything. I obviously have to deal with this because I can't just fly out to your house and say, "Hey, Kel."
We'll see each other.
Yeah, that's it. Of course, we see each other every October. It's usually a good time. There's usually some kind of story to tell, or I'm completely out of shape and just a complete disaster in some sense. But yeah, it's always a good time, Kel. Yeah. I got to admit, whenever we're together. I'm looking forward to it, and I honestly thank you as a creator. You have helped me. You've helped me grow as a creator and make the right relationships, and I couldn't appreciate you more for that. And of course, for giving me your time for this and trusting me with this, as well. So thank you, Kel. I want to send everybody your way. I wish you nothing but success. You definitely do deserve it. So, I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Same.
So, Kel, thank you. We will do a part 2. Now we have to. When we're together, and I'm sure the people will love it. So please check out Casino Kelly. And now we're going to Action Video Poker, and that is Jamie's channel. And I might like Jamie a little bit more than you, but I think you edge him out. He's the best. Jamie's the best. He is. So please check him out, and then you get to see the whole other side of Kelly. They only had this husband there, for in the background, or they hear his voice. Now he has his own channel, so all of that audience can head over to him now as well, and you guys can both grow together. Not something a lot of creators have the luxury of doing. It's either the both of them in one shot, not the separate channels. You can help each other grow organically, too. And again, I wish you both nothing but the best. Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah, thank you.